technically, it is still Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you are having a good season of goodwill and kindness to all people around the world. We are back together again, everyone. Are you excited? I really am, because it is Sunday afternoon, coming to you live and direct. This is English Addict, from the birthplace of the English language. You know where it is. I know where it is. We all know where it is. It is, of course, England. It is Christmas. Honestly, it is still Christmas. Technically, I suppose. And of course, there are people who have not celebrated Christmas yet, because they normally do it slightly later. Anyway, hi everybody. This is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? Are you feeling happy on this Sunday? I have to say, I am not feeling too bad. I've had a lovely, relaxing break with Mr. Steve. We are feeling very happy, content during this lovely festive season. I hope you had a super duper Christmas, whatever you were doing. If you celebrate Christmas, of course, not everyone does. I'm always reminded that not everyone celebrates Christmas, but we had a lovely time, very relaxing. We took it easy. To take it easy is to relax. You are relaxing yourself physically and, of course, also mentally as well. I hope you've had a nice time. I am back. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Duncan. I talk about the English language. I am one of those English addicts. I'm also, apparently, according to artificial intelligence, I am also an influencer. Between you and me, I don't particularly like the term influencer. I always think it cheapens or lowers the standard of the person who does a particular type of thing. Especially here on the internet, we often use the word influencer when we are talking about a person who is popular on some sort of social media platform. In this case, of course, it is YouTube. It's lovely to be back with you again today. So I don't think I am an influencer. I have nothing to sell. I have nothing really to offer. However, I do love the English language, and I do teach English, and I like it very much. I like both of those things, to be honest. I like teaching, and also I like English, and I like teaching English. That's it really when you think about it. So I hope you've had a nice break. It's not been too bad, even though, if you noticed, we were with you on Christmas Day. We did spend a little bit of time with you on Christmas Day. I hope you appreciate that, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. It was nice being with you at what a lot of people say that this time of year it is festive. A lot of people are doing things together. Maybe families are joining up. People are getting together. Friends are meeting up as well. One of the things, and I'm going to speak very personally here, one of the things that always warms my heart, seriously now, is when I see other people on social media meeting up with their family and friends. I love looking at pictures of people having their family or friend reunions. There is something really touching, moving about that type of moment of time, especially when you are able to capture it on video or through a photograph. So I always love looking at my followers' photographs when they are having their reunions with friends, family, classmates. It is always lovely to see that happening. I suppose in a way it reinforces your feeling of trust in the human race. Let's face it, there are so many things around at the moment that kind of make us lose interest in humanity. However, if you look at those small moments of time, real moments, none of that fake stuff that the internet is now full of. I hate it. One of the reasons why the internet might be a bad place is because there is so much fake nonsense on there. So I do like seeing those human moments, those moments where friends and family are getting together and having a lovely time. And what better time of the year to do it than Christmas? It is possibly the best time of year to have those reunions. Or, of course, during any festival. It can be any one of those festivals. So we have Christmas, and I suppose many people are still having their holiday. Here in the UK, many people have not gone back to work. I always think the period of time between Christmas and the New Year is a very strange one. It's almost as if everything stops existing. It's like everyone goes into their own little world. And then suddenly, when the new year arrives, everything goes back to normal. Everyone has to go back to work. Life returns to normal again. It is nice to be with you today. Of course, I suppose I should mention the person who is coming up today as well. It is not just me. We also have Mr. Steve. He will be with us as well today. And we are talking about lots of things. We are talking about fashion, especially at this time of year when many people are going to parties. Quite often people will wear some very nice clothes, some clothing that is in fashion. You might say that something is fashionable. Of course, the word fashion can be used in many ways, and we will be looking at that later on when Mr. Steve joins us. I can't wait. I really can't wait. And you don't have to wait very long because it's only 15 minutes from now. That is all it is. So I hope you will join us for Mr. Steve. Can I say a big thank you? Now, over Christmas, I received a lovely surprise. Can I say thank you very much to Hiroko Tani for your lovely donation? And I did receive it just before Christmas, but I didn't have a chance to check all of my emails. And then I saw your notification for your lovely donation. So can I say thank you very much to Hiroko Tani, who is at the moment living in Malaysia. Thank you very much for your lovely donation. It might be easy to forget just how important it is to make those donations. So thank you very much for that. And if you want to send a donation as well to help my work continue, there it is at the bottom of the screen, the address, if you want to help my work continue. Everything I do for free. Nothing. I don't ask you to pay any sort of subscription. I know a lot of people nowadays, they do ask for a subscription. Sometimes they have certain conditions. Sometimes they don't let you interact on the live chat unless you are subscribed, which means you have to pay to watch. But this is all free, everyone. You don't have to pay anything at all. Thank you very much for your donations. If you want to give me a helping hand, it would be very much appreciated. Don't forget, next year I am entering my 19th year on YouTube. I can't believe it. So I suppose you might say there are only 2 years to wait before we have our 20th anniversary, but that, unfortunately, is still a very long way off. Talking of which, 2025 is coming. Are you excited about the new year? I'm just wondering now if you have any plans for next year, because 2025 is just around the corner. In fact, I can safely say that this is the final live stream of 2024. It is the last time that I can say we are live in 2024, because on Wednesday we have the 1st of January 2025. I am wondering if you have any plans for next year. The new year is approaching rapidly. So do you have any plans for next year? Talking of years, we will be taking a look later on at some of the things we did this year. It was an exciting year for myself and Steve because we did a few things this year. One thing in particular involved you out there in YouTube land. So that is another thing we are talking about later. So what about you? Do you have any plans? Do you have any resolutions? We often talk about resolutions, things that you plan to do, something you plan to do in the future, normally within a particular period of time. For example, the new year. So do you have any plans? Do you have any resolutions, plans for the new year? Please let me know on the live chat. I will ask you again in a few moments. Talking of the live chat, hello. It would not be English Addict without you there watching. Hello Vitas, you are first. Do I need to say anything else? Congratulations, Vitas. Your finger is once again the fastest on the internet. It really is. And in second place, we have the one, the only, Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you here as well. Also, Beatrice is here. Hello, Beatrice. Are you excited? The new year is approaching. Do you have any plans? Can you hear my stomach, by the way? I have a confession to make. I haven't eaten any food today. I've had nothing to eat. The reason being, we've eaten so much food this week. That is one of the things many people do during Christmas. They always eat too much food. And I can safely say my body at the moment is in a very strange state because I've eaten so much food. If I ever see another piece of turkey ever again, I think I will scream. I don't know why Mr. Steve bought a huge turkey. I don't think we realised that it was going to be so large, to be honest, but it is a big one. So what about you, Beatrice? Are you looking forward to it? Who else is here today? Maruzio. Hello to you as well. Thank you very much for joining me. And also we have, who else is here? Palmyra is here. We also have Azzy John. Hello, Azzy John. Nice to see you here today. Claudia is here. Hello, Claudia. Do you have any plans for 2025? Right now, I am making plans for the new year during 2025. That was my stomach. Could you hear that? I know it's not the nicest sound in the world, but that is my stomach complaining at the moment because it wants to eat something. So Claudia, do you have anything planned for the new year? As the new year approaches, of course, many people also celebrate the arrival of the new year. So a lot of people will go to celebrate in certain places. Of course, there are normally lots of firework displays as well. Many people will be doing that. Hello, Marcia. Marcia, nice to see you here as well today. Lots of lovely familiar faces and quite a few new ones as well. Prashanta. Hello, Prashanta. Silva, hello to you. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's very nice to see you here as well. Thank you very much. Zudzika Santino. Hello, Santino. Santino Wani. Nice to see you here. Thank you very much for joining me. Christina. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello, Mr. Steve. I can't stay today because I have some problems to solve. Don't worry, because if you miss this, guess what? You can watch it again later. So do not worry if you have something more important to do. I understand. So don't worry. Amur. Hello, Mr. Duncan. See you next time. Oh, I see. Amur is going already. It was just fleeting. There is a great word. If you do something in a fleeting way, it means you do it briefly. Fleeting. Something will arrive and then go. Some people say that life is fleeting. Life can seem or feel fleeting. It comes very quickly, and sometimes it feels as if it's going very quickly as well. So even if you are staying for the whole live stream, or maybe you are only staying for a few minutes, do not worry. I will see you next time. Alexander. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Merry Christmas. Don't you have a superstition that it is not a good idea to plan, and especially to share plans? Interesting. Now, I have heard of this. Some people don't like to make plans too thoroughly. If you do something thoroughly, it means you do it completely without any change. So you are right. I think some people do not like to make plans for the future. And I suppose in a way I am one of those people. So I don't normally make plans for the long term. I do tend to make plans for just a few days ahead. But I never think of the distant future. I often make my plans over a short period, not long. Although, having said that, sometimes it is a good way of planning your time if you plan ahead into the future. So I suppose some people do and some people don't. I am not very good at it. Mr. Steve is very good at planning ahead. I, on the other hand, am not. I am not very good at doing it. Lewis, my resolution for 2025 is to stay alive. You know what? That is a coincidence, because that is also my resolution for next year. I always think it's a good idea to try and stay alive for as long as you can and enjoy this thing as much as you can. That is my way of looking at things anyway. Who else is here today? Who else is here? I don't want to forget anyone. Alexander. Hello, Alexander. It's nice to see you here as well. It's so lovely. Don't be shy. Say hi. If it is your first time, please say, hello, Mr. Duncan. It is my first time on the live stream. So if you have any plans for next year, please let me know what they are, and I will be very interested to find out what you will be doing next year. From my own point of view, next year will be busy. 2025. I will carry on doing this, of course. I will be with you twice a week, live. There will be lots and lots of new English lessons as well. So I promise there will be lots of those coming up during 2025. My stomach. Can you hear my stomach? It's really complaining. I might have to eat something. Whilst Mr. Steve is joining us, I will have to eat something, so my stomach will not make a horrible sound during this live stream. I will try my best anyway. We do have Steve coming up. We are talking about fashion. We are talking about plans for the future. We are also talking about how to live longer. Mr. Steve likes this particular subject, so I am doing it just for him. So is there a way to stay alive for longer? How to make your life longer? How to enjoy a long life? We will be looking at that as well, because I know Mr. Steve loves that subject very much. We'll take a quick break, and then we will be back, and we will talk about quite a few things. Of course, you are welcome to join in on the live chat. You don't have to ask. If you want to say something on the live chat, feel free to do so. Mr. Steve is on his way. Do not go anywhere, because we are going to have some fun. good boy now. We are live together today. I hope you are having a good one. Oh, we are here. We are live and direct. I am not the only person here, though. After 2:30, everything changes. It all becomes rather exciting because he is here, the one, the only, the man who has had a very nice rest this week, even though he has been keeping rather busy in the kitchen. I'm sure we will talk about that over the next hour and a half, as I will welcome him now, the one, the only, here he comes. It is Mr. Steve.
Hello, beautiful, wonderful people across the world, and we'll soon be entering a new year with energy, enthusiasm, spirit, and the desire to learn English. Which is why you're all really here. You're not here to see me smile at you and wink, or Mr. Duncan. You're here to learn English.
Yes.
So that's what we're all about. So it's nice to be here, Mr. Duncan.
Good.
And I've been reading, actually, people's New Year resolutions.
Oh.
A lot of people have put a few of their New Year resolutions on there. And I'm quite interested with some of them. Kahiro, is it? Do you want me to mention these now, Mr. Duncan?
No problem.
Kahiro or Chihiro says that they want to live in the moment. Now that is something that I've been trying to do, haven't I, Mr. Duncan?
Definitely.
For a long time, because it's so easy to be caught up in your own thoughts, in your head, and you just sort of wander through life, going from one thought to another, fear of something, arguments with other people, going over past things that happened a long time ago, and you don't see what's actually happening right in front of your eyes.
Yes.
And some people say if you're feeling stressed, you often read, or go for a walk in the countryside. But that's, when I do that, Mr. Duncan knows this full well, I go for a walk in the countryside, and we live in the most beautiful countryside. But unless you're in that present moment, you can be walking through these lovely forests, climbing up these lovely hills, and you're in here and not out there, because your thoughts can still be going over and over and over.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a very worthwhile New Year resolution.
Well, as they say, look around you as you go through life, because those things may only be there for a short time, and if you don't look, if you close your eyes or look the other way, you will miss them.
Yeah, that's it. And you will go on that nice long walk in the countryside, and you'll come back just as stressed as when you went, which is what often happens to me. And I think meditation is a good way of quietening the mind. And a lot of you have, we've talked about this before, but if you can quieten your mind down, then you can enjoy the present moment. And I think that's a way to do it. And connected with that, Bilge or Bill J not sure how to pronounce your name, apologies if I've done it incorrectly, wants to learn more about philosophy. And trying to think of concepts and things outside what we're fixed into every day, which is work. You've got to earn money, you've got to work 40 hours a week, you've got to pay your mortgage, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Doing things all the time.
Yes.
Which can distract you away from thinking about other sort of higher concepts.
Yeah, well,
and
anything
ways of thinking.
really, because I think this is one of the criticisms of modern life. A lot of people say that there isn't time to think. There is always a new thing. I was watching a very interesting video on the internet yesterday, and there was an art exhibition, or it's still there, it is still on show, and it's a robot, and it's just an arm, a robot arm, and it's trying to clear a pool of oil away on the floor. But of course, as it does it, the oil goes back to where it was, and then the arm will change its direction and try in another area. But of course, then the oil will come back. And it just does that. That's all it does. And apparently this particular exhibition is a representation of all of our lives, the futility of any task. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, we are all doing things that are futile. So this machine, this robot, it's a huge arm, and it's constantly trying to clear the oil. But of course, it just comes back. And that's it. It's quite a pitiful thing to watch. So I was watching it yesterday for a few minutes, and it did make me feel rather reflective, almost philosophical. So you might say that particular thing is a comment on life and how sometimes we do things that are so futile. They lead to nothing.
Because it's this might get a bit controversial, but we are sort of trapped in a way in a sort of cycle of consumerism.
Yes,
which
anything you do. If you wake up in the morning, Steve, and you clean the floor in your kitchen, you clean the kitchen floor, well, guess what? You will be doing it again the next day or a couple of days later. No, it's all right, Steve. That's
not you,
no,
Mr.
anyone. No, well, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about anyone, Steve. Please stay on track. I'm losing my connection now. So it's anything that we do can be seen as futile, because, to be honest, you might even say that eating is futile, because you have to cook a meal. You eat the meal, and then the next day you poop it out, and you have to then make another meal. It's a never-ending cycle. So this particular thing I just mentioned, this robot sculpture, it is a great representation of all of us. Even if we know we are wasting our time, let's face it, we all spend lots of time now, don't we, Steve, on the internet, looking at rubbish, watching videos, wasting our time, the old brain rot, which
getting
of course
wound up by
yes.
News events.
Yes, well,
which are probably, the media is trying to distract you, is trying to set up fear and conflict in your mind.
Yeah,
because it likes, as you said before, it wants you to get angry. It wants you to. They like to exaggerate events and get you angry, get you making comments.
Yeah.
In social media posts, because that's making money for somebody.
Well, there is a lot of money to be made in getting other people to react to things. There's a word for it now, especially Twitter. I think Twitter is the worst place, and it's called reaction farming. And it's literally one person or a company, and they will create lots of different accounts, and then they will just put stuff on all of these accounts that they know will get some sort of reaction, and they put hundreds of new posts or new content every day, and then lots of people around the world, and we are talking hundreds of thousands of people, will then react. And because now on Twitter you can earn revenue from the reactions, then a lot of people are trying to get people to react, normally with anger or frustration or even hate. So it is happening a lot. But you are right, Steve. This thing is a way of generating revenue on a huge scale. So I'm not talking about me as a YouTuber. I'm talking about people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars every month just from these posts that they put on to get lots and lots of people reacting. And the more controversial, the more hateful, the more hurtful those things, the more people will react.
Beatrice and Claudia both mention the similar point, that we need to pay attention to what good things we have in our lives. We need to be grateful for the good things that we have in our life, which, I mean, I get sort of stressed sometimes, Mr. Duncan, about things, but then you just have to stop and think, well, life's not that bad. For me, really, but you can easily get stressed over things which, and your mind can over-exaggerate problems that really don't exist in reality. Your mind is so powerful, and whatever you think in your head, your body thinks it's actually happening, and it reacts to it by releasing all these stress hormones.
Yes.
And you can end up living in a constant state of stress. And we weren't designed to live like that. We were only designed to be in a state of stress when we had to escape from an animal coming to attack us.
Yes.
But yes, it's so easy to get caught up in the world of materialism and advertising and being convinced that you need to keep buying things.
I'd leave it there if I were you, because you're on very dodgy ground.
Well,
I'll explain later.
But anyway, yes.
Anyway, Steve, can we just? We've got to move away from this. 2025 is coming, and a lot of people will have plans for the new year. Lewis says, "I want to stay alive." Well, I think that's always a good one. That's mine, and I would imagine it's Mr. Steve's as well. His plan for next year is to stay alive. We had the most wonderful year. As the year comes to an end, Mr. Steve, I think it would be lovely to have a look at this year. We have a lot of memories of 2024. First of all, this year I celebrated 18 years on YouTube, and we had a little celebration for that. But at the beginning of the year, near the start of the new year, we arranged our lovely rendezvous. Now, we did it last year and we did it this year, and we had the most amazing time. I'm going to show you what we were doing. And there you can see, well, there is me. But there are lots of other people as well, some of our lovely viewers. We had one of our super duper rendezvous, and this year we decided to go to Rome. We were in Italy, so we got together. You can see Maurizio, you can see Christina, you can also see Beatrice waving, and also Mr. Steve just behind me. And we are in the middle of Rome. We were at that time doing a live stream from the centre of Rome. So we did manage to meet up with a lot of people, didn't we, Steve?
We did. It was a lovely time, as it was the year before in Paris. And this is something that Marcia mentioned on the live stream, just that we need to be grateful, especially for friends. new friends that we've made, and as a result of Mr. Duncan's English Addict channel, we have made lots of lovely new friends last year, and well, over several years since the channel has begun, but particularly when you meet up and see people in person, it's very different to getting messages on the live chat, and it was fabulous, and hopefully we will see them all again this year, or next year I should say, in 2025, when we have our next meetup. Hopefully a lot of those people will be able to attend as well, and we stay in touch with a lot of people. They stay in touch with us, they come on the live streams, and if that's one thing to be grateful for, it's making lots of new friends.
Yes, and it's certainly something we've done here, and we had a wonderful time. The weather was amazing. I might even say, Steve, the weather was a little too good. We had some very hot days, but we still managed to have a good time. So there you can see myself. Who else is there, Steve? I can't see the picture clearly here.
Oh, right, that's Maurizio, I think, there.
And also there is...
I'm there.
Francesca.
Francesca, Beatrice.
Christina.
Go on, Mr. Duncan.
And there's Mr. Duncan. He's
hiding at the back there.
He's actually quite
You shouldn't test me on people's names, Mr. Duncan. It's about the worst thing you should do.
I will have to say,
you know what I'm like with names.
That guy with the glasses right by the camera, he's incredibly annoying. We also did another line. Sorry?
Oh, you're talking about yourself. What? There was somebody else with glasses in the video there. He could have been.
Well, I said right in front of the camera.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay, good. That's another moment of the live stream that will.
Giovanni, of course.
Yes, of course.
Was there?
Yes. And Loretta, don't forget.
Loretta.
Are you
Giovanni and Loretta? Loretta was wearing your
Go on.
T-shirt.
My T-shirt.
English Addict T-shirt.
Yes.
Which was quite a shock because we saw the T-shirt before we met the person.
Well, no. What happened? Giovanni came up behind me and he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "We've been looking for you." And it frightened the life out of me. I think I'm still shaking now from it.
Yes.
And it frightened the life out of me, to be honest. I will be honest with you, it did scare me. Besides Rome, we also travelled around, didn't we, Steve? We went somewhere else in Italy.
Did we mention Christina, didn't we, as well?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Fine.
Yeah,
and
don't worry,
Francesca.
Steve. I think I've mentioned everyone. I'm sure if someone...
Giovanni, Loretta.
Okay, Steve.
And Maurizio.
So we were in San Gimignano, which is in Tuscany. We had the most amazing time there as well. And we saw some wonderful shows take place. There were some wonderful festivals that were being celebrated also at the same time. It was the most amazing experience. And I know you, Mr. Steve, you were especially affected by some of the moments of time, especially the music that was being played during one of the festivals.
I was. Is that San Gimignano, is it, Mr. Duncan?
Yes,
that wasn't Florence there, is it? No. San Gimignano, that's right. Yeah, the music was... they had a medieval festival going on while we were there, which apparently they've been doing for, I think it was over 30 years, maybe longer than that. And they do have these in many parts of Italy, but I found it a very moving and spiritual experience. And what I loved was the way that the Italian people were celebrating their culture and their history in a way that we often forget here in the UK. I don't think I've seen anything like that in the UK. And all the families were together, from young to the old, elderly, all out eating together in the streets enjoying the festival.
Yes. So
And
you can
it was fabulous.
you can see there we were actually broadcasting live, and there were people walking around us, and at one point we had lots of people queuing behind us to get into the ice cream shop. And in the end, we were actually chatting to some of the people in the queue. The other thing to mention is we were standing right in front of a condom machine, which is something I've never seen in a public place. And I always think, and I think to this very day, how ironic that was. When you think about it, Mr. Steve, it is ironic that there are machines like that in Italy. If you think about it carefully, it is a little odd. But also a good thing, I suppose, as well. Because those Italians, Steve, you know what they're like.
They're very passionate.
They can be passionate at any moment. At any moment, that blood can rise, and the passion.
Okay, Mr. Duncan. I think we know what can happen.
No, that's just a figure of speech for becoming passionate.
Anyway, if you haven't seen that video, it's still there on Mr. Duncan's. Anyone that's new to this channel that isn't aware that Mr. Duncan has, thousands probably of videos, but that one, if you look back this year, you'll be able to watch Mr. Duncan and myself live in Italy, and that particular one was very enjoyable, So we both look very well.
I have to say, is it my imagination, or do I look gorgeous?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, Mr. Duncan.
I don't know. Well, let's just see, shall we? I think I look quite well there. And Mr. Steve, you look very relaxed. In fact, I think that's the most relaxed I've ever seen you in a very long time.
I certainly haven't been that relaxed for some time.
No, you certainly weren't that relaxed over Christmas.
What, this Christmas? Oh, right. Anyway, yes, we're going to do that.
This Christmas. But that's another story.
I've been trying to stay relaxed.
So a wonderful memory of the year, a wonderful moment of time, and as I said earlier, there will be more of them happening in 2025 because we have the rendezvous coming up. We are going to be in Paris next year. We have Paris, and maybe if we have enough time, and if Mr. Steve doesn't spend all of his money, we might go somewhere else as well. So there might be two possibilities.
Really?
Well, I've mentioned this to you already on the live stream.
Well, that's news to me, but it's great news.
I have mentioned it.
Yeah, we will be. We've got to get these dates nailed down.
Yes, we will.
And we will do.
That's one of the first things we have to do in the new year is arrange the trip, get the rendezvous for 2025 up and running, and we will be doing that. So there might be two opportunities for you to meet us. If you can't make it to Paris, there might be another location coming up as well. But yes, we will have to sort that out.
How about the North Pole?
That would be interesting.
Yes, it's Paris, and then the other one's the North Pole.
Yes.
So we're testing you. Are you really committed to meeting us in 2025? Actually, the Antarctic is more difficult than the North Pole, so maybe we should choose that one.
Well, the Antarctic is too far away.
Yes.
I don't even know how you get there. How do you get? Now, this is a serious question. How do you get to the North Pole? Because I would imagine there are not many airports in the North Pole or Antarctica. So I would imagine there aren't many places to land. So I would imagine the only way is by boat. So you would have to take a slow boat.
Well, I think you go so far, and then you have to take one of these special planes or a helicopter.
Yeah.
Well, when you see programs about the research stations on the North Pole, they're usually flying in these sort of turboprop aeroplanes,
Yes,
aren't they?
but most of the time now it's by boat. I saw
But
a
you can't
wonderful-
get all the way to the North Pole in a boat because it's frozen solid.
Yes, well, there are ships that can do it. There are navigation ships that have a special design and they can plough into.
Yeah, but they can't go all the way. I don't think you can go all the way to the North Pole in a boat.
Okay then. Well,
I think you can only go so far,
okay, Mr. Steve.
and then you have to take a plane the rest of the way,
Okay.
or do it by foot.
Yes, well, that's it. Well, of course, maybe some sort of motorised vehicle that will take you across the snow, like one of those James Bond bikes.
Maybe we'll just go to Iceland. That'd be easier.
You know what? I that really does sound like too much of a job, to be honest. I think we might just stay with somewhere sunny, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be anywhere cold. First of all, I would never go anywhere that was cold. I'm not a big fan of snow or ice. I like to watch it, but I don't like to spend too much time out in it. So I definitely wouldn't want to go to a place that was covered in snow or very, very cold. So I think it is safe to say that the rendezvous in 2025, besides Paris, the other place will also be nice and warm as well, I hope. Mr. Steve, what a year it has been.
Yes, it's been a great year. As you say, we had the lovely meet-up in Italy, and we're looking forward to this year in Paris and wherever the other mystery destination is, which is something new
Next
that
year.
I didn't know about.
No.
But yeah, but what else has been good about this year, Mr. Duncan?
Well, of course. We've been very busy making new lessons. I think it's been one of the busiest years for me for doing my live streams, but also making new content. Over the past, certainly from the end of September, I've been working every day to produce new content, and there is a lot of new content on my YouTube channel. So I would say safely that this year has been a busy one. We've had some fun, but also I've been doing a lot of work, and that will continue, by the way. In 2025, all of this will carry on twice a week, the live stream, and lots of new lessons as well. The live chat, by the way, is very, very busy today. Very busy. We have a lot of people talking on the live chat, and of course excited because 2025 is coming.
I was going to mention, so going back to New Year resolutions, or New Year's resolutions, you can say it both ways, I believe. We've said this in the past. Marcia mentioned earlier, and I've just remembered that she said quite some time ago that she has New Year resolutions, but she doesn't want to talk about them. Now, I think I know the reason why. Because sometimes there is some idea or philosophy that if you reveal to everybody what you're going to do, the energy is dissipated and you won't actually achieve it because you've told everybody. So best to keep them, I think. Is that why, Marcia, you didn't want to tell us? Because if you don't tell us, or maybe you don't want to tell us because then you can say, oh, that was my New Year resolution. Look, it's worked. But I think the reason could be that there is this belief or idea that if you share what you're going to do, then the energy is lost behind you actually achieving it.
It's almost a spiritual thing.
Yeah, so it's better to keep it to yourself and then quietly achieve it. And then you, inside your head, that will become reality. That thought process will manifest into reality.
That's a good word.
If it's kept manifest. Yeah,
Yes.
There's a good word for you.
Something will manifest itself. It appears.
It appears.
The appearance of something, it will manifest. It always reminds me of one of the funniest videos ever. Not fake, not staged, and it goes back many, many years. I think it's I want to say the early 1980s. It might even be the late 1970s. A guy being arrested in Australia for trying to steal food or get a free meal in a restaurant. Unfortunately, it was mistaken identity. However, the whole thing was filmed. It was captured by an Australian news service. And it is, to this date, the funniest thing you've ever seen, because the guy being arrested comes out with some of the funniest lines, the funniest things, the funniest thoughts that a human being could actually say to anyone. And this is all being captured on camera by a news team. And the reason why I mention that word, the word you just mentioned, Mr. Steve, is because democracy is what is being shown in that video. And that is what he says, you see. That is what he says about it. And it's a video that a lot of people have watched. And it's all over the place. It's all over the place. Democracy Manifest. If you look that up on the internet, this guy will be there. And it is the funniest thing you've ever seen. Not only that, he also uses the phrase ta-ta.
Right.
As I do, ta-ta for now. And he was using it many years ago. So, Democracy Manifest. Man being arrested.
What's the gist of what he's saying?
Well, some of it I can't even say.
The word gist, of course, means what's the essence?
Yes.
What is that person trying to communicate? A gist is an idea or concept or a belief or a meaning said in a short number of words. Give me the gist of it. If you say that to somebody, give me the gist of it. It means just give me the shortened version of it.
So the meaning.
So I was hoping, of course, Winston Churchill famously said that democracy is I'm paraphrasing here, democracy is a dreadful system.
Yes.
But it's the best that we've got.
Yes.
It's the best of all the others.
Yes, it is the best of the worst.
It's better than all the rest. It's awful, but it's better than all the rest.
But
he's probably right.
If you get a chance to see that, Democracy Manifest is the name of the video, and it's all over the place. Sadly, he actually died this year, the man being arrested, and he became this international star just because of this short video, this short film of him being arrested. But the things he says are hilarious. He was enjoying a meal, a succulent Chinese meal. That is one of the things he says, by the way. Can't a man sit and enjoy a meal, a succulent Chinese meal? But the way he says it, and he says other things as well that I can't repeat. But if you look up Democracy Manifest or the man who said it, it is there all over the internet. It is literally everywhere, and it is one of the most famous video clips from before the internet. So even way back in the 1980s, it was considered a meme before the internet became popular. 2025 is on its way. Oh my, Mr. Steve, I can't believe time. Have you noticed, Steve, how fast time seems to go?
Yes, if you're busy, time goes quickly, doesn't it? People often say this. If you haven't got much to do, time goes very slowly. Or if what you're doing is boring and uninteresting. So I would imagine time for most people watching us right now on this live stream is sort of going at the fastest rate they've ever known it. Because it's so interesting and engaging.
Because it's so exciting. I hope so.
I'm joking.
Well, I do get lots of people saying that They say, we can't believe your show is 2 hours long, but when we watch it, it seems to be over very quickly. So it is, yes, you might actually be right there, you see. You might actually be right. But I'm also talking about life as well, Mr. Steve. Life itself. It does seem sometimes as if time, as in our existence, seems to go by very quickly. I can't believe in 2025 I am going to be 60. I can't believe it. It doesn't seem real. And I'm going to be honest. You know, I always like to be honest. I tell you everything here. I have developed a slight problem with my next birthday. I don't know why. I feel if I think about it for too long, and I'm not joking here, if I think about it too long, I actually become quite anxious about it because it seems unreal. It seems quite unreal that I am going to be that age, because I remember my grandparents being in their 60s when I was growing up. And back then I thought they were old. It does seem strange, doesn't it? Because when you're very young, everyone else seems to be really old. And you forget that you yourself will one day be that old. So it is something I'm not coping with it very well, Mr. Steve. I have to say, I'm not looking forward to my next birthday. If I was honest with you.
Maybe you don't look it.
Oh.
As Marty has commented down here. Or maybe you do. Well, not on the live stream, because of course we have lights shining, ironing out all the creases.
It is true.
In our faces. So
this is why everyone looks great in TV studio. In TV studios, people always look amazing, but then when you see them outside in natural light, it's almost as if they've aged by about 30 years.
You wouldn't believe the strength of the lights in this studio. I mean, I really should. I'm probably getting cataracts.
Yes.
No, I'm joking. Actually, and of course, what you see now on a lot on news channels. Is if they're interviewing people, because in the old days, people always came into the studios to be interviewed.
Yeah.
But now, of course, they use Zoom or whatever technology, and people can be sitting at home, somebody they want to interview, and you know, there they are on a separate screen, and they're using all these beauty filters to make themselves look much younger than they are. And of course sometimes it just looks ridiculous. Sometimes people have got these little, because there are settings, aren't there, on Zoom, and
yes, you can turn the beauty filter up.
That's it.
And as you do it, it will artificially smooth your skin. It will almost de-age you in a very
face it.
It's a very crude way of doing it.
Do you, any of you watching, if you're doing Zoom calls for work or Teams or whatever system you've got there, do you use the beauty filter to just smooth your face out a bit, take a few years off?
I think a lot of people do. But thank you very much, by the way, for your lovely compliments. Thank you, Beatrice. That is lovely. How kind of you. You both don't look your age, even though Mr. Steve is older than me. Yes, it's true.
Well, you see, there's a big difference. There is your biological age.
Yes.
And then there is your chronological age.
Yes. What about your psychological age?
There's that as well, yes.
I think mine is about 6.
But you can have tests, you see. I mean, I'm
I've had a few
63,
of those.
as most people know. So
How
that's
old are
my chronological age.
How old are you?
63, as you well know. That's my chronological age, the actual specific age as measured in time. But my biological age, you see, if I haven't looked after myself, if I've drunk and smoked all my life and not taken any exercise, then my biological age, as is measured in my my body itself, my heart, lungs, that could be actually older, a lot older than that. You could have some people who have really looked after themselves, could be 80, could have a lower blood pressure than me, could have a better heart and lung function, and biologically they could be younger than me if I hadn't looked after myself. So there is this difference that can be measured. You can have various tests done to determine your biological age, and that's actually more relevant in terms of how long you're going to live than your chronological age. And talking about New Year resolutions, I read today an interesting fact. Well, I think it's fact.
You keep saying facts.
I say facts, but I'm reading these off the internet.
Take them with a pinch of salt.
Well, doctors have determined that you've heard of pessimists and optimists.
Yes.
I
know one of them.
My father always said to me, I always remember, it's one of the few things I remember my father saying to me. I think I was about 7 or 8 at the time. And he said, "You're a pessimist," which is probably not a good thing to say to somebody when they're very young. I think I got that off my mother.
But are you though?
I think I am. Yes, I think I am a pessimist. Well, I'm not a complete pessimist, but no. I'm sort of.
By the way,
more of a pessimist than an optimist. But anyway,
Steve.
What I was leading to,
Steve.
What?
A pessimist is a person who always looks on the downside.
Always thinks things are going to go wrong.
Always negative. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a good point. And an optimist always thinks things are going to go right. And anyway, I had some. Doctors have determined that if you are optimistic, then you are likely to live 8 to 10 years longer than someone who is a pessimist.
That doesn't sound like much.
Well, it's quite a lot, really.
8 years?
Well, 8 to 10 years, that's a hell of a lot.
If you said 30, that seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, but if I was to tell you were going to drop dead at 70 if you're a pessimist, but you were going to live to 80 if you're an optimist, you'd probably quite welcome those extra 10 years.
Yes. But I would especially welcome an extra 30 years.
Well, that's it. Well, you can get another 10 years by being fit and healthy, from a physical point of view. It's still quite a good, because I think probably the reason, I used to have somebody at work. I knew somebody at work who was always miserable. This is a previous job when I was in my early 20s. Had quite a profound, I wouldn't say influence, but I always remember what he said. He said, he was always miserable. He said, my philosophy in life is to always think everything's going to go wrong. And then when it goes right, I'm pleasantly surprised. And
that might still be a pessimist.
But that's a pessimistic outlook on life.
Yeah.
But and what it does, I think, to your body is if you always think things are going to go wrong, you're constantly in a state of stress, in fear. So your body's producing all these stress hormones, which make you sick in the long run. So of course you can be too optimistic. Always think, we all know people who are too optimistic. They always think things are going to go right, and thus they don't really plan for anything going wrong, and then their lives can become very complicated when that happens.
And that's why you have to have some sort of balance. So
exactly.
you can be pessimistic and assume life is awful, or you can be too optimistic, happy-go-lucky, and then maybe as you go through life, you might actually come across more bad experiences because you are not being careful.
You have to have some forethought about what could go wrong in certain situations. If you've got no control over something, then it's probably things that you can control, like, for example, your car. Get it maintained, because you could break down and then a lorry could hit you and you could die. That's something you can control.
Yes.
But for things that you can't control, and there's lots of things in life we can't control, you might as well be optimistic, because it probably will go right. Most things in life do go right in the end. So why all that? Why worry all the time about things you can't control? Because you might as well just, if you can't control it, there's no point in getting down about it, because you're just going to make yourself miserable and unhealthy.
That's it. I think we understand what you're saying.
It's easier said than done.
That's
of
it.
course.
Yes. Well, it is. And I think if you look on the dark side of things, the negative side all the time, then all you are going to find is negativity. And that's the thing. Sometimes in life you have to take things as they come and only worry about the things you can change. Don't worry about the things you can't change. People come along and they go. So if someone in your life is causing problems, you can always turn around and go in a different direction. You don't have to take all of the negative things. Sometimes you can make your own choices, can't you, Steve?
You can. I think I've been reading a lot about this recently, and I think the problem is, if you are in a constant state of stress and negativity, it really, and your thoughts, if you're in negative thoughts, it really does affect your health. And this is something I want to, and that's connected with what Chihiro said about a New Year's resolution about living in the present. You can't always be in this analytical mind, thinking all the time. It just creates stress. I've got to let that go and just sort of enjoy life a bit.
Yes.
Just be happy.
Coming from you, by the way, that is quite reassuring coming from you.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I want to do. I want to shift the balance, because there's no doubt that negative thinking and pessimistic thinking has a detrimental effect on your health.
Yes. Well, this almost ties
in the long term.
This almost ties in with what I want to talk about today, and we've almost talked about the subject before I've even introduced it. So it is that secret, that way. How do you ensure that you stay healthy and I suppose you live for as long as you can? I think it is always an interesting question. At this time of year, and I don't think it's just me, but I think at this time of year, lots of people do start to reflect on their lives, or maybe the time they've spent during the past 12 months. Did I use that time well? Did I waste time? Did I spend too much time giving myself brain rot by looking at the internet and watching all sorts of rubbish?
Yes, and getting agitated and angry over things.
Yeah, this is it.
I did a lot of that last year, going on news channels. And there was an article which I can see now was deliberately designed to make me get angry.
Yes.
And then there's always a comment section. Everyone's writing these comments, and they're often abusive towards other people.
Yes.
And then I get involved in it.
Yes.
And suddenly your whole mood is then affected.
This is what we said earlier about things that are focused towards us now are aiming for certain types of personality, or even our own psychology, and those things normally are topics or subjects or things that might cause us to be upset, worried, fearful, angry, to feel despair. So all of those things are aimed at us, so we will react to it in some way. Quite often these things will be quite negative. As I've said before, the worst place right now in the world is Twitter. I know what you're going to say. It is not X, it is Twitter, because everyone calls it that. It is the worst place right now for all sorts of misinformation, or maybe just trying to get as much negative reaction to things as possible. The worst thing that happened to Twitter was when it became heavily monetized, and now lots and lots of people are producing multiple accounts. And this is what's happening, Steve. We're not talking about a few dollars each month. Some of these people are earning $300,000 or $400,000 every month.
Maybe I should be doing it, but that's exploitation. That's wrong.
You do need about 20 computers. You need to spend a lot of time programming these computers. A lot of it is done automatically, so they don't even have to keep putting this stuff in. You can actually set your Twitter account or your feed to put these things out automatically, and they often go in a cycle over several months. So you don't even realise that you're looking at the same thing again and again. And that is a big problem, because the more money you can make from it, the more people will do it. And the only way you can really go with the quality of the content is down. We will see a lot of that in 2025, I think.
Christina Bourne puts a very a good quote from Winston Churchill on the live chat in capitals, so we know it's profound. By the way, I've got a friend called Chris Bourne, a man, short for Christopher. So whenever I see your name, I always think for a moment, I've got my friend Chris Bourne is coming on. Pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. And they're almost both the same, both the two sides of the same coin, aren't they? Sometimes if an opportunity presents itself that is difficult, there is always an opposite to that somewhere. And maybe in the way that you think it can, manifest the opposite.
I think it is possible to be too optimistic, just like it is it is a bad thing to be too open-minded. So we often talk about being open-minded, being accepting. However, you must always keep your brain in place. Don't be so open-minded where your brain falls out and then you stop thinking completely.
See, Lewis says this. It's if you're always optimistic or always pessimistic, if you're always on one side or the other, that's like a pathology. You can't always be pessimistic because you'll always be down. You can't always be optimistic because you're not living in reality. Well, you're not living in reality at both extremes.
Yes.
Because most of the time things do tend to go right because you always put some effort into it. So if there's a problem somewhere that needs solving, then you will put effort into that to try and solve it.
Yes.
And most of the time it probably will go right because you will make an effort to make it right.
Yeah. It is well, it's almost a cycle in a way. Sometimes and this is a thing that I've mentioned over the last few months, because I have my ups and my downs when it comes to this YouTube. So sometimes things will be good, but then things will be bad, and it is all about things around me that I can't control.
I think you're right, Mr. Duncan. There's cycles.
Yeah.
Cycles.
So it is like that. Everything is this, and then that, and then that, and then sometimes it is just that, straight and smooth, but then there'll be another problem, and then a little bit of smooth road, and then maybe another dip that you go down into, and then that's it. You see, that is life. That is what you learn as you get older. I always say that education gives you information, but life gives you experience, and you can only gain that by living, by going through life. This is why I always say there is no such thing as bad experience. All experience in your life is experience for the future. It allows you to learn. You have to have bad moments. You have to have sometimes failure. Sometimes things don't go right, and that's how you learn. You move on. So education gives you information, but there is no there is no substitute for the experience of life. And that is something you slowly gain as you get older.
Which is why we value the input of some of our more senior viewers on the live chat, because we're getting advice born out of years of experience. And it's something that a lot of people seem to forget these days when we're living in this sort of, I don't want to say fast-paced world. That sounds so old-fashioned.
Yeah, well,
when we say that.
I think what happens now is with every generation that grows up and gets older, there are always new generations coming along. And maybe one of the problems is we have this, certainly for younger people, we have an instant gratification where the thing you want must be available straight away. It must be something that you get straight away. You don't want to wait for it. You don't want to save money for 10 years so you can buy it. You want it now. You want that thrill, that moment of pleasure straight away. And I think that's one of the things that younger people might actually suffer from, this feeling of needing instant gratification. You need to get the thing straight away without waiting. You're expecting life to always go your way. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, Steve, as you get older, you realise that quite often things do not go your way. It is the first lesson that we all have to learn when we're young.
Strangely enough, I like watching motivational videos, and I watched one. Now, a lot of you will probably criticise me for this, but I watched I watched a video of Donald Trump giving a lecture on success and how he became successful, and I saw another side to that person when I watched this video. It was actually quite profound what he was saying, and he was doing it from the heart. You could tell he really meant what he was saying. And I've forgotten the point I was going to make that he said in that. Oh yeah, one of the things he said is that no one is ever successful unless they make mistakes. Which is what you're mentioning there, and what Lewis has mentioned as well. You can only learn from experience, and you learn the most quite often from mistakes, things that have gone wrong. So if you never have mistakes, it means you're never going to progress, and you're never going to learn anything. The other thing he said was never give up.
Okay.
Never give up.
That's
if there's
original.
something you want to do and you like doing and you love it, never give up.
Okay, so remember that, everyone.
You just watch that. You'll see.
If a woman says no, never give up.
Oh well.
Yeah, good, Steve. I think using Donald Trump is the example.
I'm not talking about that.
No,
I'm talking about business.
Yes.
Building a business, doing something you love. I'm not talking about that, Mr. Duncan.
But that would be
that's what he was talking about in relation to business.
But that would be the same train of behaviour, you see. So, but all successful people anyway. All successful people, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, even Elon Musk, who seems to have had a slight breakdown over the past 2 or 3 months. So everyone who's successful has that kind of mindset.
Yeah, you've got to.
Yes.
You've got to have that mindset, otherwise you'll give up, and somebody else will take it up, whatever that idea you had. I was reading something about who is it that who Bezos, isn't it? Has the got Amazon going, wasn't it? That's his company, Jeff Bezos.
Not anymore though.
No, that's it. But anyway, he was talking about how he became successful, and he nearly didn't do it. He actually wanted people to help invest. He was selling books he got this idea of selling books on the internet in his garage. That's how he started doing it. and many people. He'd got a good job working somewhere, and he said to somebody at work, "I want to do this," and his boss said, "Oh, are you mad? You must be nuts. You've got a great job here, a good career. Why give that all up for some idea that might not happen?" But he made the choice to give it a go. And, now I can sit at home and not have to go to the shops. I can order everything online. So thank goodness he did do it.
Yeah.
Well, if he hadn't done it, somebody else would have done. Because these ideas are all out there, aren't they? There's this theory that all these possibilities are all out there in the ether, in the universe, in the matrix, or whatever you want to believe. And somebody's going to pick that idea up. And so, yeah, there you go.
But we can also thank him for all of the empty streets that were around on Boxing Day, when no one, not a single person, went into most of the shops around the UK.
Yes, because they've worked out they can sit at home with a few clicks, they've got what they want.
Thus leading to a sinking and failing retail sector in the UK.
Well,
thanks, Jeff.
They've brought a lot of that upon themselves.
Thanks. Anyway, we're not debating it. I'm just saying.
With ridiculous parking charges.
Steve, let's not pretend. Let us not pretend that being able to sit at home and click on things and pay for them and have them delivered to your house is not part of the problem.
It's wonderful.
I know it's wonderful.
Jeff Bezos is my hero.
Okay. That's good. And apparently Donald Trump as well.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I would just, something I read. I was taking it at face value. I wasn't judging him. I was just judging the content as I read it, as I listened to it. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to let your prejudices, you've got to put your prejudices aside.
Oh, okay.
And just...
Almost like the person you just mentioned. He should also probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
Who are you talking about?
The person you've just been talking.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to get into a Trump debate.
Oh, no, we're not. I didn't bring him up. I just want to keep my viewers, you see. Because
I thought conflict was good for getting clicks.
No, not on an English teaching channel. This isn't one of those reactionary podcasts.
Yes, Saturino, divide and rule. It's worked for thousands of years.
Yes. Well, I suppose there has always been an element of that. If you go back to Roman times, it was all manipulated. Religion and the gods and politics. And bringing people with different beliefs together is what the Romans did. And it was used as a form of control. So you can see how far back we are going, Mr. Steve.
Oh,
it's always happened. This is not a new thing.
Everything's control.
It is easy to control people when you give them what they want, and also you give them something to fight against. Those two things are incredibly powerful in the human mind. They really are. And they can get you to do all sorts of crazy stuff.
Put you in a state of fear.
Yeah.
And
then you start doing some strange things.
When you're in a state of fear, your critical thinking mind is cut off.
Yes.
And so you're easily manipulated. Anyway, we're getting quite philosophical here.
This isn't political.
It's not political.
This is almost going back to what I was talking about earlier about life, making choices, the way you see things, whether you are optimistic. But I think most successful people, so we're taking all of the names out of the subject. Anyone successful normally has a particular type of mindset.
We're all successful.
Okay.
We're all alive. We're all here. We're all enjoying ourselves.
Yes. But I'm sure the people sleeping in the doorway tonight in the freezing cold weather might disagree.
Yes, Christina says, you can't all be mega successful. That's true. We can't be.
No.
We can't all be billionaires.
Well, we're not all built like that.
No,
we
can't all be billionaires.
I mean, I should be flying around now in my own private jet if I really was that successful. But I have to accept that I'm not successful. I have to accept my place in life. That is my style. That is what I have. And guess what? I'm ever so happy because of it.
Saturino says here that in my city, they say those who do not have courage do not sleep with beautiful women. Well, that's true. I mean, we all know in the world of dating, you've got to be confident, haven't you? You've got to exude confidence.
Mm.
People are attracted to other people who are confident, even if you don't have good looks. Some people just exude, don't they, positivity and confidence. Then their manner, the way they talk, the way they look at you, and those people are attractive. So if you can be like that, then exude. There's a word for you. I don't think we've used that on the live stream before. If you exude something, it means it's there. You can see it. It's obvious. It's coming out of you.
Yes, it's actually directional. So exude is the almost like a radio transmitter. It is coming off. So a person might have a certain type of personality that is attractive, and you are right, Steve. That's exactly what you're doing. You're giving off those small things. That's why some people are attractive and some people are not. There are various reasons, but trust me, I definitely don't want to get into this subject. We might be treading on lots of toes, let's just say, Mr. Steve. Can you believe it's only 26 minutes before the end of the show?
Oh, yes.
I can't believe it. In fact, it's 23.
We've been rabbiting away.
We've been talking so much today.
If you rabbit away, it means you just talk like that.
We do.
You're rabbiting away, and the impression is the expression is really giving the indication that you're not talking anything of any real importance or substance.
That's about right. I think.
But I hope that we have been talking about something that you find interesting. Of course, at this time of the year, we do this every year. We think, the year's gone by. We reflect on the last year, and then we think, so what do I want to do next year to make my life better? And we've got this time off at Christmas. A lot of us have a week off around Christmas time. It's quite common for people to have quite a long spell off between Christmas and New Year. A lot of businesses shut down, civil servants, government also shuts down. So a lot of us have this time to sit and think, what do I want to do for next year? So you form all these lovely plans, and then before you know it, you're back on the treadmill and you forget all those things, all that optimistic thoughts about what you were going to do.
I think we're getting the gist.
And you soon fall back into the old patterns. But is this going to be the year when you stick to your guns and do what you say you want to do?
All I know is at the moment I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio at the end of Titanic. I've fallen into the water. I can see there is a little bit of wreckage of the boat in front of me, so I'm holding on to it. So this is the stage of my life now. This is how I'm viewing 2025. This is now me holding on with my fingers, gripping as tightly as I can.
That's a very pessimistic outlook.
No, it isn't.
It is.
It isn't. It's realistic.
It's pessimistic.
There is a difference between pessimism and realism. So I'm now realising...
but you create your own reality, Mr. Duncan.
Steve, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to. Steve, I just feel as if there is a point that I'm coming to, and you can't help feeling it. I can't help what's going on inside this lump of clay inside my skull. So I don't feel very happy about reaching 60, to be honest. I don't like it. I'm not joking. It's been causing me actual anxiety. I've been feeling really anxious about it. I don't want to be 60.
I'll help you through it, Mr. Duncan.
I hope so.
Maybe alcohol and chocolate will help.
No. How
I'm
will that?
joking. I'm joking.
I know. Well, don't give me that advice. I will take it. That's why. I've been doing that all week, by the way.
Maybe we should grow certain plants in the garden, and then we could harvest that plant, dry it, and maybe, I don't know, smoke it or put it in a cake. And maybe that's the time. I'm joking, of course.
Okay.
We're not going to be doing any of that.
Maybe 2025 will be the year Mr. Steve gets my YouTube channel taken off me. Maybe that will happen next year. It seems to be getting closer and closer.
You're not clinging on, Mr. Duncan. You are 60 is nothing.
I'm going down with the wreckage.
60 is nothing.
I'm holding on to the back of the boat. And
when you think actually, a lot can be done in 5 years, let alone. I mean, you should actually, if you look at what your parents and your grandparents, they all lived to quite a good age.
Yeah, but the last 7 or 8 years of my mum's life was spent not knowing who she was and where she was. So that doesn't.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that's going to happen to you.
Yeah, I think it's
and
already
your mother
happening.
had specific health issues.
I'm salivating a lot.
Which led to that.
Steve, you've got to listen to this. I'm salivating a lot.
What does that mean?
That is an early sign
You're
of dementia. No, that's an early sign of dementia. Did you know that?
Where did you read that?
Where did I read it? A medical journal talking about the very early signs. Apparently one of them is your mouth waters a lot. You overproduce saliva before any of the other signs have appeared. And I noticed the other day, I was in the garden filming and my mouth kept filling up with saliva. And I really panicked and I thought, oh no.
See, this is the danger. You see, you can't just take one little symptom in isolation and use that to say that you've got something coming.
So at the point where I'm saying, who are you? Who are you? Why are you in my house? Then that's the point that we know it's happening.
Well, that's it. But, what you fear the most comes true, they say. So,
for goodness, coming from you, that is so ironic.
Well, I'm like an obese doctor.
Oh yeah.
That tells you to lose weight.
You're the alcoholic, obese, chain-smoking doctor who is telling his patient that they have to cut down on the amount they smoke, drink, and eat.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Is a well-known expression. Because, the irony of going to a doctor who is obviously very unhealthy, telling you to get exercise.
We get it, Steve.
I know. Well, I'm just saying it in a different way.
We get it.
Do as I say, not as I do. Is probably a phrase that comes to mind.
Good.
Oh, there we go. Dark chocolate and good French cognac.
Oh.
Well, I like French. I like chocolate, and but I'm not sure I like cognac. But maybe I should try it.
Yes. Well, I've been drinking wine recently when we've been going out for meals. I've been having the Malbec wine, which is Argentinian. I have to say, it is as good as the French wine. I know, please don't complain, but it is lovely, a nice, full-bodied red wine. Very nice.
You see, that's it. That's why I want to go. That's why we should do Paris. That's why we should do France and Italy next year.
Okay.
Because in France, we will have the best wine in the world. And when we go to Italy, we will have the best coffee in the world. Because that's the two things I remember about going to France, going to Paris, is even the cheapest bottle of wine in France tastes better than most wines you can get in the UK,
yes.
Unless you spend a fortune. And any coffee in any cafe anywhere in Italy seems to be better than any coffee you can get here in the UK. You just fall into any cafe, ask for a cup of coffee, and it just tastes so good in Italy.
Yes.
I don't know how they do it, but as we've said before, it's put us off going out for cups of coffee anywhere in the
Okay.
UK because it just doesn't taste as nice.
Oh, yes. I was. You know what? I was waiting for a point then.
That was the point.
Oh, I see.
Well, the point was, we'd been to friends' houses that have got these coffee machines, and they're not very good. You can buy these pods, can't you? You put them in the machines. They're all right, but they're not that much better than instant coffee, a good quality instant coffee that you can sort of froth up. That Mr. Duncan makes a very good coffee.
I do. I make the best coffee in the world.
Mr. Duncan makes very good coffee, and
I
it's
do.
instant coffee.
If you ever get the chance to sample one of my coffees, you will be very lucky.
But he sort of froths it up with a frothing machine, and you put some. What else do you put in it? Evaporated milk, condensed milk,
Yes.
and it tastes as good as anything you can get in most restaurants in the UK or cafes. And that's a sad fact, unfortunately. See, they get away. They know that.
They.
Yeah, when I say they, I mean people that run cafes in the UK. They know that most people in the UK just drink cheap instant coffee at home. And therefore, anything that they do is slightly better. People are going to accept. But that wouldn't work in Italy.
Okay.
Because Italian people would come here, go into a cafe in the UK, and probably think it was ditch water.
Yeah. They probably wouldn't, though. They probably wouldn't go in there. They probably bring their own Italian coffee with them. But it is interesting. It is interesting when you go to different places and sample their food or their type of cuisine. Like, for example, the wine. So I always like French wine. I insist on it. I don't drink wine all the time.
Well,
But if I have a drink of wine, then I will think, a nice little bit of French, bit of maybe bit of Merlot, bit of some nice Burgundy region, maybe something like that. But now, wow, I've discovered the Argentinian wine, and I'm thinking, hello.
Well, if you like the Argentinian wine, according to Claudia, if you go to Argentina, you will sample the best meat.
Oh, there's
an offer.
There's a recommendation.
You're talking about beef. I would imagine. Well, yeah, Argentinian beef, of course, is renowned for its quality. We used to have a lot of it. I don't know if we still do. We used to import a lot of Argentinian beef into the UK. It's lovely. In fact, the best steak. I might have said this before, but we went on holiday. You go on holiday.
We do now, yes.
The best steak I've ever had in my entire life. I don't eat many steaks, but the best I've ever had was when we went to. Where was it, Mr. Duncan? That restaurant.
You're telling me. How can I know what you're thinking?
Do you remember that restaurant we went to by the sea? Where was it? It was in
Turkey.
Turkey, that's right. It was the best steak.
How am I supposed to know what you're thinking?
My energy levels are dropping, Mr. Duncan. I've been talking for an hour and a half.
I'm not psychic.
That was the best. I've never had a good steak in the UK, ever.
I do like it when Steve does that. He's trying to think. He says that there was that person the other day. That person. And he's going, and I'm going, I don't know. I have no idea.
My brain's I need a cup of tea and a cake or something.
You're not salivating a lot, are you?
Well, no, I'm not. But yeah, maybe you were hungry. Maybe you were salivating the other day because you were just hungry, Mr. Duncan.
I am today. I'm starving today.
Blimey. We bought a turkey, didn't we, for Christmas?
Not the country.
We bought it. Yeah, that's a different. A turkey. Gobble gobble.
Okay.
That's my impression of a turkey. Gobble gobble. And we've had 4 meals off it so far, and I boiled the bones, the carcass of the turkey in a saucepan last night, and we've got wonderful soup today. So I'm going to cook some potatoes and some sweet potatoes and some parsnips as are left over, and put those in there. We're going to have this great big bowl of turkey soup later on.
I can't believe how much turkey we have eaten this week. I feel my poor body, that's the reason why I haven't eaten anything today. I'm trying to give my digestive system a little bit of a break, because all I've been doing is eating, and then occasionally it was leaving me. But the eating seemed to be taking more of the time than the actual releasing, if that makes sense. So my stomach and my body feels as if it's been overloaded. So today I didn't eat anything this morning, although my stomach now is completely empty. We are going to have a quick break, and we are back then with some quick words and phrases connected to fashion. Are you a fashionable person? Do you believe that fashion is important? All of that coming up in a moment. Is Mr. Steve, and here is Mr. Steve. He is also here in the studio as well. We are still here. It is myself, Mr. Duncan, and that guy over there is Mr. Steve. We are with you live on a Sunday here in the UK. It is just after 10 minutes away from 4 in the afternoon. We have something to talk about now, Mr. Steve. A lot of people at this time of year, they will go to parties, they will visit relatives or friends, they will spend time, maybe they will go somewhere nice to eat some food, and quite often they will wear nice clothes, they will look smart, and I suppose it leads very nicely into this part of the live stream, looking at fashion. So there I am underneath, looking very fashionable, and over there you can see Mr. Steve. I think Mr. Steve is dressed as a punk rocker from the late 1970s. I think you look amazing there, Steve. If only you looked like that in real life, you would have the ladies chasing you all over the place. So we are looking at fashion. As a noun, fashion is the prevailing custom, the manner, the current or popular thing. So generally, as a noun, we look at fashion as being the overall thing or a particular type of custom, something that is happening. When we look at customs, we are looking at types of behaviour, things that people do. A contemporary thing is often described as in fashion. So we do use this word quite a lot, don't we, Steve? Something that is seen as contemporary.
Thank you, Claudia. Contemporary, yes, something that is it's something of the present time. contemporary fashion, something that people are getting into. They like. What is the contemporary fashion of now? What is contemporary fashion now? I think fashion cycles used to be a lot longer in the past, but they're very short now, aren't they?
Yes. Yes, they almost come round in 1 year. You might find lots of fashions coming and going. It used to be about 10 years. So each fashion would come and slowly vanish over 10 years, but now it's much faster.
Yes, I mean, I read this morning that apparently it's been a fashion, I didn't realise, for women to have large handbags, but apparently that's now not fashionable, and 2025, apparently you've got to have a smaller one.
Oh, I see.
Handbags apparently have been very large.
Mm.
This is if you follow fashion, of course. You're on a bit of a treadmill if you do, of course. Apparently that there is a fashion at the moment, isn't there, for ladies to have hair extensions.
Yes.
And have this giant voluminous hair cascading down across their shoulders and down. And they're clip-in hair pieces, aren't they?
Yes.
That sort of blend in with your natural hair. I wonder when that fashion will go.
I don't know. Well, it certainly looks as if it's here to stay for the time being.
It's become fashionable for men who are losing their hair, which is no fault of their own. It was fashionable to cling on to as much hair as you could.
Mm.
But now it's fashionable just to shave it short.
Although, let us not forget, the other thing men can do is go to another country. Quite often it's Turkey, and they will have a hair transplant or something like that. But I always think it's unfair that women are able to wear wigs and change their hair artificially, but when a man does it, it's seen as weak or humorous.
Vain.
Very strange that. I always think that I think men should be able to wear wigs if they want without any prejudice or judgment. Being seen as conventional or the acceptable behaviour or appearance is also fashion as a noun. The shape, form or design of a particular thing. It's fashion. So the noun is being used overall to describe that subject. A kind or sort. So things. So when we look at the word kind, we are looking at type of thing, a fashion. So there might be people in a certain group, but they all have different appearances or styles. So all fashions of people. In that sense, we are talking about all sorts of people, all types of people from that collection. After a fashion. Something that is similar but not as good. You might do something, Steve, after a fashion. It means you are doing that thing, but you're not doing it as well. It is a poor imitation of that thing. You are doing it after a fashion.
Yes, you might cook something that you've been to a restaurant and you've had this beautiful steak and chips, for example, which Maurizio said that he's had a very good steak in the UK. Please tell me where you went and I'll try it for myself. But yeah, you might go out to a restaurant, there's a lovely meal, and then you try to recreate that same meal at home. But it's not that good, and so you could say that I've created this meal after a fashion.
Mm.
You've tried to make it like it was something, but it's not quite the same thing.
That's it. As an adjective, a thing seen as popular and stylish is fashionable. Something that is fashionable. So a thing you are doing, wearing, your appearance is in keeping with the current fashion. So the adjective version is fashionable. A person might go along to a party and they turn up and they look fashionable. They are dressed in a fashionable way. Their appearance is very current.
Yes, that might just not just be clothes. That might be being fashionable might not just apply to clothes. It might be to certain social behaviours as well. It might not just be applying to clothes.
A type of behaviour. That's a good
type
point.
of behaviour, particularly when you're eating in a restaurant, for example. It might be fashionable to act or behave in a certain way, and it wasn't previously. Something that could have been acceptable before, wasn't acceptable before, might be acceptable now.
And the other way round.
And the other way round.
See, I like to pick my teeth after I've had a meal. If I've had meat or something, I like to pick my teeth with a little piece of wood called a toothpick. But it has become unfashionable and people don't like to do it anymore.
It might be fashionable to arrive slightly late at a party.
Yes, we've got to move on, Steve. Fashionable can be stylish, chic. Ooh, I like that one. Ooh la la. Trendy. Something is in vogue. It is in vogue. It is in fashion. Something is modern. It can be hot. Ooh. Something fashionable, something current can be described as hot. It can be described as in. Something is in. That's it. The singular word in means fashionable. It is in fashion. Popular and also new as well are often seen as synonyms of fashionable. Something in, as I mentioned just, is fashionable, and we might say that something is out. It is out. It is unfashionable. The in thing is fashionable. The thing that is out is unfashionable.
Yeah. High heels are out this year.
Oh.
Well, I'm just saying that.
That's bad news for me. I like to wear my high heels.
Hair extensions are out in 2025.
Oh.
Maybe. Or you could say that long dresses, mini skirts are in again. Just means they're in fashion again.
Yeah, that's good news for many men. Many men like to see the ladies in the mini skirts. And so fashion comes and goes. Things can be in fashion and then they go out of fashion.
Thank you, Palmyra.
The word fashion can also be a verb as well, Steve. To create something, to make something or design something. You fashion something. You make something. It is a form of creativity. The word fashion can also be used as a verb to form something creatively as well. So as Steve said earlier, there are many ways of using this word, and in this sense we are designing something maybe artistically or maybe something that is going to be displayed.
Yes, if you had a block of wood or a bit of stone, if you had a block of wood and you wanted to fashion something out of that, it means you're creating something from that. You might, you use a chisel to make that piece of wood into a statue of somebody's head. You fashion it into something. It means, as you say, you're turning something into something else.
We are using that as a verb. The word fashion stems from Latin, and it comes from the word to make, group, or group together, and gather, believe it or not. So fashion comes from the word make, or maybe arrange or group together, come together as a group. And that's why we have the word faction, by the way. That also derives from the same root. In general terms, fashion is seen as the acceptable manner, the way to behave, the way to dress, the way to do things. So I suppose, Steve, would you say that some countries might be less fashionable than others? And by that I mean people to be aware of the fashions. Now, I would never say that I'm fashion conscious, or I don't think about fashion very much. If I like wearing something, then I wear it. I don't feel as if I'm having to follow any particular type of fashion at all, or a type of behaviour, maybe.
Maybe if we went to lots of parties,
yes,
in London, we'd want to be fashionable, and of course it depends. I mean, it's a bit of a shallow world, isn't it? If your friends won't accept you because you're not wearing the latest fashions, then maybe you need to change your friends.
Yes, that's it.
If you need to keep changing your clothes and to be accepted in certain groups, then maybe, well, unless you want to feel belonging to those groups. But yeah.
Well, it's a choice.
It's a choice, yeah.
So a person might have good fashion sense. They dress in a fashionable way. We might describe a person who has good dress sense or fashion sense. They always wear things that might be in fashion or something that is suitable for them. Of course, not everyone can wear all types of clothing. Some clothing looks better on certain people. Fashions come and fashions go. The current thing soon becomes outdated. I remember a time when I was fashionable, Mr. Steve. Do you remember that? Way back in 2008, 2009, 2010, I was very fashionable. But then, of course, like all things, those fashions will change. So the current thing will soon become outdated. Finally, Steve, you'll be pleased to hear something that is unfashionable can be described as out of date, old-fashioned, dated, old hat, obsolete. I don't like that one. And so yesterday. That is so yesterday. It means we don't do it anymore. It is so yesterday. And there we go. Some words and phrases connected to fashion.
Yes, you can often be described as old-fashioned, can't you? That's often a criticism that people will level at you if you're wearing clothes that, I don't know, maybe if you went into your garden wearing a suit and tie.
Yes.
Which is what people used to do back in the 1940s and 50s and even the 1960s in the UK. A man going into his garden would be wearing a tie.
My granddad did.
Yeah.
My granddad, when he went into the garden, he would do some gardening, and quite often he would have a suit with a tie.
People did.
And a shirt.
Because
he'd be in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Tending to his tomatoes. And he'd be dressed in a casual suit.
Like they were going to church.
Amazing.
That was just... But now that would be seen as very old-fashioned.
That is incredible.
People... I often get... My sister sometimes thinks I'm old-fashioned because she likes to keep up with the fashions, but I just couldn't care less. But it's quite often people would say to me, and have done, "Oh, you're a bit old-fashioned, aren't you?" But that can... Not just in your dress, that can be in the way that you perceive life and you think about things.
Your character.
Maybe some of the phrases you use are phrases that you got from your parents that aren't used anymore in modern parlance. Uh,
Well, there's a word.
There's a word, yes. So, but you do. Sometimes you meet people and they use phrases that are old-fashioned, that people don't use anymore. So it's not just about your clothes. It could be about your manner, the way you say things, the way that you express yourself. Right.
Definitely.
I need a cup of tea, Mr. Duncan.
Don't worry, Mr. Steve. I've not forgotten. We are going in a moment. Thank you, Steve. And you know, this is the last ever English Addict of 2024. So we will not be here until next year. So we will be back on Wednesday. I'm not sure if Steve is here, but I will definitely be here welcoming with you the new year. 2025 is when I will be back on January the 1st. It is just around the corner. So thank you, Mr. Steve, for joining me today, and also, of course, during this year. Without Mr. Steve, we would have nothing to talk about.
Bah, don't say that, Mr. Duncan. Sometimes I say controversial things, but hopefully it opens up debate and encourages people to make comments on the live stream.
Or click away.
Or click away. Well, hopefully not. Yeah, it's been wonderful being here all year. And, of course, some of you will celebrate New Year earlier than others because of the time difference and the world turning on its axis. So we look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. I think I will be there on Wednesday, Mr. Duncan.
Oh.
I'll say hello to everybody, wish everybody a Happy New Year. But if I'm not there, I wish you all a Happy New Year from me. And see you very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. And he's going now. Catch you later, Mr. Steve. There he goes. Mr. Steve is with us every Sunday when everything is normal. Mr. Steve is always with us on Sunday. And, of course, sometimes on Wednesday if he's taking a break from work. We've been with you now for nearly 4 hours. It's 12 minutes past 4 o'clock. So I've been with you for 2 hours and 12 minutes. Can you believe it? I will see you on Wednesday. And, of course, it will be next year on Wednesday. So have a super duper time, whatever you are doing, your own way of celebrating the new year as it arrives. I hope you have a super time. Thank you for joining me for all of this year. If you have been around for a while, thank you very much. If you are a new subscriber or a new viewer, I hope I will see you as well in 2025. Thank you very much for your company. I will see you later on. Have a good New Year's Eve, and I will see you on the 1st of January on Wednesday. And yes, it will be 2025. And of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next. Of course you know. I've been doing it all year. Every time I come to the end of one of my live streams. Ta-ta for now. Happy New Year.